Welcome back to the channel, everyone. So we're going to do a cooling update on this Cummins. It's acting a little funny. When you're driving around town, it's doing okay right now because it's cool, real cool outside. But when you get on it with any kind of throttle going up a hill, it runs a little bit warm and kind of backs off when you take off the throttle. So the cooling system needs some help. I suspect it's the thermostat that's part of the problem. I know the fan clutch is bad, and we're also running a Mopar radiator, so none of that is helping our situation here. We're going to go ahead and swap all this out. So we got an XDP radiator that we're going to throw in here, which is supposed to be better. I can't find a factory one. I would run factory if I could, but I can't find it, so we're going to run XDP. We're going to switch out all the hoses because we're in here, replace the thermostat with a Cummins thermostat. I'm pretty sure it's a Napa. And then we're going to take off the fan clutch. It's electric over mechanical. So what it does is it has a solenoid in there. The computer turns the solenoid on and off, which activates the manual clutch on it instead of being the older style manual clutches, which just have like a thermostat in the center. When hot air hits it, they lock up. We're going to switch it back to the mechanical style. So in the future, when we have to replace it, easier and cheaper and easier to get a hold of. From my understanding, the clutches that are in this truck lasted for a long time, but when you go to replace them, the replacements are not very good and also very expensive. So we're just going to take it out, replace it with a mechanical, and see what it does. So before we do anything, we're going to get under here and start draining the coolant. That way, as we take everything apart, it's already draining. Oh gosh. There's no pressure. Can't be that hard. Something's wrong here. There we go. Wow. Holy moly. Whew, that was stuck on there. Cracks in the radiator cap anyway, so time to replace that. Now she's draining a whole lot better. There we go. And two. Whew. Looks like we had a little bit of a boost leak right there. So we'll clean all this up, make sure that boot is good. Don't see any reason why that would have been leaking, but it was. So I'm going to see if I can get a hold of a new boot. And if I can't, we'll just put it back on there and tighten it down more. Maybe it wasn't tight enough. And if I can get a new boot, we'll just put a new boot on when we put it back together. All right, next, the transmission cooler. Let's see, can I get to it with it just being like that? Because if I can, that's what I'll do. Just let that one fall away like that. I think that'll be okay. I think we can work around that. We've got to undo all of this. All right, we're gonna work on pulling the fan trot out too while we're right here. And then we'll work on getting the radiator out. Well, actually, it might be easier just to take the Yeah. Yeah. Let's try to unbolt the fan shroud first and see if that'll just come out. I don't know if it's two-piece or not. Let me see. Doesn't feel like it's a two-piece, so might have to pull the cross member here. But let's see if we can get the shroud out. Alright, so because I didn't have that open all the way, it's taking a long time to drain. We're going to go ahead and mark this so get it back where it's supposed to be. And then we'll work on getting this cross member off. Flipped out of the way, and that'll give us more access to get the radiator out. I didn't really want to have to take the cross member out, but I don't think we really have an option here. There we go. Come on, you. All right. Got that big boy out of there. We got to get the fan off and everything else. We just can't have anything easy. Let's see, is this the right one? Can I just reach down here? That way I don't have to crawl back down there again. Yeah, there we go. That's it. All right. Whew. We are like halfway in. Gosh. Come on. Am I tightening or loosening here? Let's see. I think I'm tightening, which means we gotta go the other direction. Come on. All right, we're gonna get a little more serious here. There we go. So that's how you do it. So this kit will work, which is what I use on everything with a fan clutch. Just this guy was really on there. Oh, let's see. Whew. I didn't even have Loctite on it. It was just tight. All right, now that we spent all the time on that thing, we're gonna take the serpentine belt off. We're replacing that while we're in here. And then we got to get this little housing off because we're going to replace the thermostat. So let's do that now. Huh. The belt wasn't too bad, really. But might as well, it's starting to fray on the edges. Might as well replace it while we're here. Let's see if we can get that out of our way now. All right, so now we got to get the thermostat housing off. Got to take this cover off to get there. So we're going to do this. Now we're just going to put this back in there so we don't get nothing in the oil. Now we got to undo this clamp here and this clamp here, I think. Well, I understand why people pay so much money to have this done at this point, because it's a lot of work replacing all this stuff at one time on this motor. It's not exactly the easiest to get to. But I would say at this point, we're almost halfway done. Once we get that thermostat housing off, get the thermostat in, we'll be halfway done. We'll start putting it back together. That boost leak, I guess, could be the reason it was running a little warmer. Oh yeah, I can just undo this. All right. I don't know if my deep well's deep enough for. Oh, it is. Yeah. Now will this just come off? It will. Oh, that's not good. However, now we can get to this thing. Oh, I guess I probably should undo that first. I don't know what the hell that is, but we're going to pull that off. Alright. Yeah. We'll clean that up here in a minute. Take a look at the thermostat, see if it was actually a Cummins thermostat that's in there. Nope. That was not a Cummins thermostat. I'll show you what a Cummins thermostat looks like. Alright, so here's the difference in your thermostats. This is the Motorrad one, so this is basically a parts store, and this is the genuine Cummins one. This is the one you want to go with, and you can see the difference is, well, it's apparent real quick. This is a 190-degree thermostat, and I don't even know what this is. I'm sure it's around there somewhere, but you can see, I mean, it just looks like the Cummins one is going to open further and probably more reliably. And then just the way it's gasketed and everything, this is a better thermostat all the way around. Not only that, but this guy is substantially heavier than this one. So there's a lot more material here, which means it's an overall better thermostat. There's no reason to go with this. These are cheap. These are like 40 bucks. So no reason to go with an aftermarket thermostat. Just grab the Cummins one and just be done with it, you know? But okay, now we're gonna go about cleaning all this junk up, and then we'll start getting this stabbed back together. Looks like they tried to put some sealant in there. I don't know why someone would do that. This is a perfect example of why we have soft jaws. So we can clamp stuff in there like this, work on it here instead of down there. So we have a bit more cleaning to do. I'm actually waiting for some gaskets for the EGR crossover pipe to come in from Napa. It'll be here in about an hour. So what we'll do is we're actually going to start working on this piece. Like I said, we're converting this to a manual clutch, so no electronics at all. And we need to get this we need to get this pulley off and move it over. So we're just going to do it right on the truck. Woo. Yeah, I didn't think that would have enough power to do it. And here you go. This is the heart of the system. So you can buy this two ways. You can either buy just the adapter piece here, press this out, press a new bearing in. Might as well press a new bearing in because you're taking this apart, and then put the wheel. Or you can buy the whole kit with a core charge, and you don't have to do any pressing or anything. Put the whole thing on there. You get a new bearing, get everything done for you, and then you can just send this back for your core charge, and then you don't have to worry about it, which is what we did. I could have saved 50 bucks and done it the other way, but this will save me time doing it myself, or not having to do it myself rather. And I don't care. I don't care about keeping that piece. It's useless to me. So we're going to jam this back in there and keep going. And I'll show you what it looks like with the manual clutch when you get it in there. Take this clutch off the fan. What I plan to do is actually I'm going to clip that plug off, because this clutch is bad anyway. This is no good. So I'm going to clip the plug off and plug it back into the truck, just so I seal this wire up, and then I'll tie the wire up here so it doesn't get into anything. And that's what we're going to do with that. Now for the clutch itself, here's what you run. You run a 94 to 97 Ford 7.3 fan clutch. That's what it looks like. Way more simple, no electronics. Mo better. Mo better is what we say. Now I will say, there's something you do have to be careful with this. It just so happens it works out for our 6.7, but if you have a newer 6.7, I want to say after 09, and you have a 4-bolt fan, you'll have to get a new fan for this to work. For our 6.7, because it is an 09, it has the older like 5.9 style fan on it. Just that's how it came from the factory, and it's actually good for us because I don't have to replace the fan. So if you are looking to do the swap and you've got a newer Cummins and you want to do this, you're gonna have to source out. Man, why do I do that? See, this is why I lose things, because I do that when I'm taking stuff apart. And you want to do the swap. You need to get a fan from a 5.9 Cummins. Man, those hoses have been on this thing for a long time to have this much crud on them. Last time I did anything to the cooling system was like 5 years ago, I want to say. The only thing I did is replace the water pump, and obviously we did a coolant flush on it, so it's about due for the coolant anyway. But this just goes to show you how long these hoses have been on there, because wow. I think that's about as good as I can get that, just because it's so hard to scrub. It's looking really good though. Way, way, way better than it was. There we go. Alright, the final new piece is this radiator. Now I went with XDP only because it was the best radiator that I could find for the price. I'm not into aluminum radiators or, you know, all aluminum radiators, cheap ones. They don't seem to perform for me. I actually like factory radiators. For me, they seem to perform the best. In Jeeps or Toyotas or whatever, factory radiators are actually quite good. And I'm not making any extra horsepower, so I don't need to get fancy, but this looked like it was the best factory replacement that I could find, and it is oh hell yeah, it's way heavier. It's like 5 pounds heavier for sure. So they tout, well actually, you know what, let's just take a look here real quick. Let's compare this one to the new one, and let's compare the old one to this one, and let's just see if we can see the differences. Alright guys, I actually pulled out my caliper so we could do some measurement differences. So just moving this over here, there's a huge difference in weight. And mind you, the old one has coolant in the bottom of it still, because I pulled it out before it finished draining. And the old one is still lighter than the new one. And look at the thickness difference here. So let's get a little bit of a measurement. So let's do 1 3/4 of an inch, just round it up, and this guy rounded up to 1.5 inches. So 1/4 inch thicker in the material on the radiator. The core is 1/4 inch thicker. That's going to be a lot. What else can we find here? Let's see these ribs. 0.12, 0.08. These ribs are quite a bit thicker. The tank looks way beefier. I can't really measure this because of this ribbing here, but yeah, everything looks way nicer. Also, well, this has captured nuts. This has its own captured nut, which is nice, so you don't have to fiddle with those. What else do we have? Let's take a measurement. See this thickness here. What do we got? We have 0.126, and for this guy, oh, well, look at that. We have new rubbers too, that's nice. I'm just gonna grab it right there. 0.140. Another thing that I noticed, this XDP one is really overkill, and I really like it. So for the top here, the top of the core, where the top of the core attaches to the tank, you have 2 tabs that are run over and crimped. Whereas this guy has 2 tabs, but it's crimped in one little tab right in the middle. So you could, I mean, I've never seen it leak here, but you know, more tabs, more hold down is better probably. The other thing that I noticed is the core is crimped all the way around to the tank on the Napa one, but on the XDP, you have the same thing, except you have an extra band that goes all the way around and crimps it again. So you're reinforced, you're like reinforced twice when it comes to how the core is attached to the tanks. I don't think there's going to be a problem between the tanks and the core, period, on this. You'll probably on this guy, you'll probably clog it up or actually damage the core before the tank comes apart. Because those tanks are so thick, you're probably not cracking this for a long time. They're not going to separate. And it's just nicer. Let's see. Let's take a measurement here, just for just because. So 1.4. What do you got here? 0.07. So it looks like the whole thing is double the thickness, basically, which is just, that's impressive. That's really impressive. Good job, XDP. But to be honest, we'll see how good it actually is when we go drive the truck. So let's go. See if we can carefully get that in there. I'm going to wrap it in cardboard so we don't bend any of the fins. Okay, let's see. Once I got that radiator slipped in and bolted in, I pulled the cardboard out, then I put everything back in the way it came out, torqued it all down, and called it good to go. It's a pretty simple process. You just, the way you took it apart, just do it in reverse, and you're going to be good to go. Once you get everything back together, you're just going to work on putting coolant in it, and you'll want to pull the bleed valve so you get all the air out of the system. Okay. All right, let me heat it. There you go. There we go. Before, the amount of airflow coming out of here was pitiful. I'll tell you that. Barely anything. No matter how long you let it sit and run. It's moving air now though. Just to show you, look at that. Even through all those radiators, it's sucking air like crazy. I mean, it's blowing air up here. It's moving that chain up there. It's moving so much. And that's just at idle. That's the way it should be. And it's cold still, so when it's hot, it'll really get going. Oh, almost made a mistake. This clip has to come out. There we go. All right, I just turned it off to see if any more air would come out. A little bit did. I double checked the bleeder, let it run for a minute. There's no air out of there, so we're good to go. We're going to start it back up and take for a quick spin, but we got to take this off. And I keep saying everyone needs one of these if you work on your vehicles at home, especially if you're doing coolant changes and stuff, because it allows you to get a lot of the air out of a system. It allows you to run the truck or Jeep or whatever you have with the radiator cap off. You fill it up and it'll self-purge that way. It makes it way easier. And if you have extra coolant like this, when you pop this off, you're going to lose a little bit, but very minimal. See? And then you take this and you just go put it back in the can that you use for top-offs, right? Or if you need to top off your overflow here, you could take it and put it in the overflow. That way you don't lose any coolant and you're good to go. So definitely pick up one of these. I'll link it. They're awesome. I have one. I got my dad one. They're handy to have, and they do pretty much every vehicle out there. So let's throw the new cap we have on and take her for a spin and see what she does. All right. So it's 58 degrees outside. The last time we were doing this, it was a little bit colder, but you saw the temperature fluctuate and go above 200 easily. I am guessing with where the tack was at, we were at 210, maybe 215 for a second there. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go run it and see if we can get it warm. We're gonna watch to see if it fluctuates as much or if it goes above 200. It'll probably touch 200 while it's warming up and the thermostat's opening and closing, but I don't think it's gonna fluctuate near as much with that Cummins thermostat. And also, I don't think it's going to run nearly as hot. I think once that thermostat stays open, we're gonna run right near 190 right now. Okay, like we're pulling out into traffic, and if I would have done this last time, we would have seen that temperature climb to 215 or so, even with it being 40 degrees outside when it was. Just under 200, and it's already cooling back down. Yep, that's way better. Yeah, in the past, when I would do something like that, you know, give it just a little bit to get going, you would see the temperature spike, and it would not come down until you let your foot out of it. So if you kept cruising, you'd see the temperature come up and kind of stay there. That's way better. I can't wait to see what this thing does over the summer. I can't wait to see how that fan does over the summer too, when we're really pulling in high heat. We live in a really hot environment, so the more air I can get through that radiator, the more cooling I can get, the better. It's not uncommon for us to hit 120 degrees in the summer, and oftentimes we have to go through Death Valley, which, if you guys know anything about Death Valley, it's not uncommon for it to hit 130, and there's some really steep grades in there. So I'd love to take this truck towing a nice load in a really hot day through Death Valley to see how the system performs. But we're gonna have to wait a few months. It's too cold outside for that. But that'd be an awesome test. I might just do that. If you guys are interested, let me know. Hit the thumbs up, hit the comments. Let me know if you're interested in a test like that with this truck, just to see if the cooling system did any better. So there you have it. I'm real thrilled on how this turned out, the performance so far, but time will tell. I still need to test it over the summer, and I need to test it with a trailer on the back of the load. But already I can tell you it's much better, and the fact that the fan actually works is a huge plus, and that's going to work real well in the summer, I promise you. But yeah, you could do this in about a day by yourself. I had a little bit of help here and there, but for the most part, I did it on my own. And with filming and everything else, it took me about a day. You could do about a day. I'll link all the parts in the description below that I used. Take a look at them. No real special tools. It's pretty easy as far as tools goes. It just takes time to move everything out of the way and mess with it. But the parts, they're a little bit expensive, but I think you put good parts into a truck like this, and she's going to last you a long time. And this truck, it really has. It's been good to us. So we're just gonna keep motoring along with it, keep it repaired as best we can, and keep using it. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Really appreciate it. Hope to see you in the next video.